Well, hi everyone, and welcome to ADMG 474. Let's talk about the assignments for week 4. Your discussion this week, again, to be completed in your small discussion groups, you are going to be talking about your project charter. Now, you started your project charter in assignment 3, and what I want you to do is I want you to post your project charter. You're going to identify at least one part. What we're going to do is, and as your initial post is post your project charter and then talk about one part of the process from assignment 3 that was the most difficult. Okay, identify at least one. You may have had more than one, but identify at least one. And then review at least 2 other group mates' charters and then comment on the milestones that they had, and then add at least one milestone that they may not have considered and discuss why you believe that was an important milestone to add. Okay, so here's where we're going to have the first of many opportunities to post your work and get feedback. Now, what I want you guys to come out of this class and then again in 474 is the value of getting peer review and peer comments and giving peer review and giving comments, because in a team, in a project team, you will find that you're asked to do this all the time. The project manager will come to you with a portion of the project plan and say, can you please review this and give me your comments? You're going to be doing this kind of stuff all the time. So here's an opportunity for you to get to practice this, and you can take away some feedback. People will be able to give you ideas that you hadn't thought about. And as you look at other people's project charters, you're going to look at them and you're going to say, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, wow, I need to add that to my project charter. Now, I want you to understand that you are under no obligations to add things that you don't feel are right to add. But what we're doing here is we're giving you an opportunity to learn from one another, to take from one another what is the best, and so that you can make yours better. Okay, so please, I hope you come away from this and plenty of other of this type of opportunity as we go through the class. I hope you get that feel as we start to share our work. Okay? So the purpose of this is to get an opportunity to see what other people considered as milestones and to have a debate over milestones. Remember, what a milestone is a significant portion of work that's been completed, and it represents a point in the process. So you want to make sure you consider that. Your initial discussion, of course, is due by Thursday. Your 2 peer responses are due Sunday. Now, the reason that you're going to do this is so that you can incorporate any of these comments into the second part of your project charter this week, because this week we finish the project charter. Okay, so let's talk about our project update. And you had a brief meeting with Pat to finalize some thoughts on the theme for the project. How did you guys do with your project themes? Did you come up with a decent theme, something that you really like? And I may have had comments back for you on your theme to continue working through that. So your project update is that you met with Pat to finalize some thoughts on the theme. Be sure to incorporate those thoughts into the final draft of your project charter this week. This week we are finishing our project charter. So if there were any comments made regarding your scope, business case, or milestone schedule from your Module 3 feedback, your grading of Module 3 feedback, please be sure to incorporate those changes into your final project charter. Okay, so moving forward, you are going to open up the charter that you began in Module 3. You're going to make any changes that were recommended from your Module 3 homework. You're going to look at your milestone schedule, and you want to make sure your milestone schedule is thorough, accurate, and complete, and includes all major milestones with estimates. Review as needed. So here, I'm asking you to make sure your milestones are on track. Use the feedback that you got from me as an instructor, and then use the feedback that you got from the discussion question to really hone in on your milestone schedule. You're also going to identify the early risks of the project, who's responsible, and put together a simple mitigation plan. Now, that simple mitigation plan may be 1 or 2 sentences. Don't worry about a deep, dark plan at this time, because we're just trying to mitigate the risk. What are some of the things that we might do? Okay. And we want to look at the major type risks for this particular project. You also want to identify the major resources that might be needed with respect to funding, people, equipment, or other. So you want to look at those categories of resources, and then on a high level, make sure you complete that resource required section. So you want to use the project team member bios information, remember, in the course project module, and you're going to look at that for completing project stakeholders. You don't want to copy and paste that information, but you definitely want to figure out how to incorporate that information into your charter. So craft your team operating principles for this project. You want to develop your principles based on the understanding of the project, organization, and your team members. Complete that section. And then finally, you want to work on your lessons learned. And I highly suggest you think about ADMG 374. What were some of the lessons learned in executing your project, and have those, try to craft those as your lessons learned section for this particular project. Identify the key individuals whose commitment are necessary and just enter their names. You don't have to do signatures. Remember, I mentioned no signatures are needed. We're just going to do electronic signatures. That's all you need for this. Now, that is what you need to do to finish your project charter that you started in Module 3. Your assignment submission should be that professional looking Word document, and it's the complete project charter. I want to make sure you know it's the whole thing. I am just showing you on this picture here the milestone and then down, but remember, this is going to be a complete project charter that you're submitting. Here's what your milestone deliverables look like: your current state and your ultimate goal. What is the current state, and then what is the ultimate goal, and what do we want to do in between milestone wise to get there? Your major risks, the funding section, the resource required section, funding, people, equipment, your primary stakeholder, your other stakeholders, what is their interest in the project, and your team operating principles, lessons learned, and your commitment. Again, real signatures not required, but just the commitments. All right, this is the rubric I'll be using to grade your assignment. Incorporating changes. Please note that I've got 5 points dedicated to incorporating changes from chapter from module 3 into the assignment. It's kind of important that you look at what I mentioned and make sure that you adjust accordingly. And then, of course, your risks, resources, stakeholders, team operating principles, and lessons learned for a total of 50 points here. Don't forget, you do not have a quiz this week, because when we continue on with the chapter, which we are doing this week, there is no quiz. So there will be a few opportunities throughout the course where a chapter will be covered in 2 weeks. The quiz will always be in the first week, not the second week, and then the second week there is no quiz. All right, so if you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Email me, Skype me, however you want to get in touch with me. Let me know how I can help. Have a great week.